What's good, my dudes? We back in the saddle with another YouTube banger, and today I want to do a little update on gold card prices in Skyweaver. I've been keeping track of these prices for well over a week now, and a few insights I wanted to share with y'all. Right now, it's still kind of hard to get your hands on data on card prices, especially gold card prices, buy, sell prices. But the stuff is starting to roll out. The Skyweaver team is starting to finally share a little bit of information on that. There was a post, I think, in Discord that showed some graphs and stuff like that. But we're not going to go over those today. That's going to be for another video. Real quick, I just wanted to go through what the gold prices have looked like, where they've moved over the past week or so, and where I expect them to go in the future. And just maybe point out a few anomalies or a few good deals that I think might be available right now. So I made this sheet myself. This is just a little spreadsheet. I kind of update it a little bit every day, take 5 minutes in the day, and just kind of gives me a look at where the card prices are going, where they're headed. So I've been keeping a pretty close eye on this, at least, moderately close, I'd say. And the first thing I want to point out is I only started keeping track of card prices way back on January 11th of this year. And it is now January 24th. So coming up on 2 weeks here, 2 weeks of data. We missed one day. Unfortunately, I had a busy day that day. I wasn't able to update the sheet. But regardless, I still think this information can be kind of useful. Um, it does seem, if we look at, I guess the first thing we'll take a look at is the average card price for all of them combined. So this is just this row 4 here is just going to show you the average price of all the cards. You add them all up, you divide them by the number of cards. This is the average you get. And on the first day that I started recording data, the prices were 25 bucks. It was 25 bucks for an average card. It popped up the following day and really kind of peaked around January 16th, right in the middle of January here. This was one of the most expensive months for gold card prices that we've seen so far, certainly in recent memory. And ever since then, it has been slowly declining. So if you look at where it's at currently, we are at the average price for a gold card is 32.28. Now this is, this includes the first set, this includes Nakamoto, this includes Mother Ethera. So if you earn a gold card from the current set, obviously 32 bucks is probably not what you're going to get for it. This is all cards combined. But you can see over the past week or so, we've gone from an average card price of 36 to an average card price of 32. So significant little dip. But the encouraging thing is it seems as though, at least for the time being, we have kind of stabilized around the 32 range. So we've had about 4 days in a row where the average card price is around 32 bucks. Another encouraging sign is this price stabilization is happening despite the fact that more cards are constantly being minted. So for example, if you look at, on 117, the number of gold cards on the market, it didn't include, for example, Feronis. Feronis wasn't in rotation yet. He wasn't being minted. Shredder, Psyche, none of these cards were even there. So the fact that the gold card buy prices, oh, I should mention, these are the buy prices, not the sell prices. The gold card buy prices are remaining relatively consistent despite the fact that more cards are being added to the market every week. So that to me suggests that there's definitely a new influx of players coming in, or at least enough to keep pace with the number of cards being minted. And I mean, or it just means more people are buying. I mean, it could be the same number of players, but just more of those players are buying gold cards, or the players that are buying gold cards are buying more of them. So I guess there's a few ways that could go, but either way, it's an encouraging sign that even as more gold cards are being minted, the price seems to be stabilizing around $30, above $30 for the buy price for the average gold card. Another thing that I want to point out that's kind of interesting is if we look at not the current set of gold cards, but the set that came right before it, you can see that this was set 8. So this was the set that had Electric Eel, Strike, Rumbo, VLA, all those. This one popped the fuck off in terms of supply. So you can see here that a lot of the cards from this set 8, they broke $1,000 minting. Were those bots minting those 1,000 cards, or was it just an influx of new players? It's hard to say. It's probably a little bit of both, but it's significant. It's a significant jump because if you look at the batch right before it, which would have been batch 7, this was the batch with things like Wing Construct, things like Scorch, things like Shockpaw. Here we barely broke 700. So in the course of 1 week, we've gone from minting around 700 per card to minting over 1,000 per card for things like Extinction Event. So why exactly there was that huge increase, an increase of what, 40%, something like that, 35, 40%. I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully it's not just due to bots, but I do not think it was due to bots. And the reason for that is what we were talking about earlier, where the card prices have seemed to stabilize even with the influx of new cards. I don't think that the prices would have stayed as strong if this most recent jump in minting numbers from the last batch was just the result of bots. So it seems like, okay, so putting it all together, it does seem like the we've finally turned a corner in terms of the number of gold cards that are going to be minted per batch. We hit the trough or the valley around set 5 with things like Avatar of Light and Mutichi, where those were only minted. Like if you look at Mutichi, for example, there's only 441 of those ever minted. Set 5, nobody was really grinding for gold cards for whatever reason. It's looking more and more like that really will be the set that's in shortest supply, set 5. So, I mean, a couple takeaways from that, but the main one is more players are coming into the game, and at the same time, a good portion of those players are indeed buying up gold cards, it appears. So, all in all, I think the market is looking really fucking strong, looking really good for where we're at right now. We haven't even begun a lot of the updates to gold cards, like increased animations and other shiny shit that they're talking about adding. And I'm still as bullish as ever on gold cards. And I think the data backs up the bullishness. Any other thing I want to mention? I guess if we look at the average card prices by groups, so you can I made this sheet. I set it up in a way where you can kind of see average prices for by prism. So for example, the average agility gold card buy price is around $28, whereas the average heart card buy price is around 30. Intellect is actually the highest right now, which is around 42. Some of that's maybe due to Nakamoto and a few of those other cards. But for whatever reason, there is still a premium on Intellect Prism, as I've pointed out in the past. And there's still a premium on units over spells. The average unit buy price for a gold card 38. The average spell is only $25. Huge gap there. I don't think it's justified, but units do look cooler. They are kind of more fun to buy, so I can understand it from kind of an aesthetic point of view. But I still think spells are a good pickup. There's some really good cheap spells. Last I checked, spells like Defragment and strong ass spells that for whatever reason people just aren't buying them. So if you're looking for bargains, I would say pick up a few good versatile cheap spells, because right now they seem to be on discount. But that being said, they've been on discount a while, so it might just be the case that that discount will always be there. I don't know. But let's see, anything else I want to say? So if we, so yeah, breaking it down by set, I guess. If you look at set number one, that's still the most expensive set, but set number five, almost as expensive. As we mentioned earlier, set number five is looking more and more like it's going to be the set that had the least number of minted cards. And that will probably be throughout the entire history of the game at this point, no matter how long the game goes on. So, is set five going to surpass set one for the average gold card buy price? I believe so. I think it's only a matter of time, but only time will tell. We'll see. And one other thing I will point out about the average price of all these different types of groupings is the gap between the really expensive cards and the really cheap cards, the gap between the spells and the units, the gap between the individual sets. All of these gaps are shrinking. The gold card prices are somewhat normalizing. The magic of the marketplace is smoothing out these curves, and more, we're just kind of seeing everything kind of collect towards the center a little bit. That curve is smoothing out. Again, I think it's a great sign. It shows that the market is maturing slightly. I mean, it's still the early days, obviously, but I think it shows that there's enough people buying and selling, and there's enough transactions going on to where supply and demand rules are kind of doing their thing. Um, I guess if we wanted to be so a lot of what I've said has been kind of like painting the bullish scenario, the bullish picture for gold card prices. But if we wanted to kind of play devil's advocate and be more pessimistic, we could, of course, point out that, as we pointed out in the very beginning, since around January 16th, gold card prices have been declining fairly consistently. So we bumped up and bumped down a few times, but on the whole, the trend has been downward since mid-January. We'll see if that continues. It definitely seems to be slowing down, but still a little bit of a downward trend. And but then again, I guess this will be the last point I'll make for the video. All of this, keep in mind, is during a extremely bad time for cryptocurrencies in general. We're in the middle of January, and Bitcoin price, Ethereum price have dropped 10-20% in the past week or two. So the fact that these gold card prices haven't completely fallen through the floor, I think, is a positive sign for the game. And the fact that they're able to maintain their value and actually gain value relative to all the major cryptocurrencies is huge. It's a fucking huge, really positive sign. So on that note, I'm going to end this video. I think I've already gone on long enough. I plan on doing these kind of like marketplace update, just a brief overview, kind of analysis, sort of my take sort of video. I want to do these at least once a week, hopefully on Mondays. Today's a Monday, so I'm going to try and do it again next Monday. And if you guys enjoy these type of videos, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because there are many more on the way. Thanks, guys, and peace out.